Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So day 3 of the official Kaldheim spoiler season continues on. Now if you haven't seen my earlier episode from today on Coma Cosmos Serpent, make sure you check it out, and I promise you this is not your typical land draw Simic commander. This is actually one that is really interesting and unique, so make sure you check it out. And actually the card from this episode might have a spot in that deck and a lot of other blue decks. But before I jump into the card in this episode, I just want to give a quick spoiler warning. If you're not looking for spoilers, then you're in the wrong place. But for everyone who stuck around, I assume you want to see the card, so let's jump into it. And this quick take is on the recently spoiled Saw It Coming, and the actual joke here is that many people saw this card coming. Saw It Coming is an instant for 1 blue, and it has counter target spell. Oh yeah, and it's got a Foretell cost of 1 in a blue. So during your turn, you may pay 2 and exile this card from your hand face down. You cast it on a later turn for its Foretell cost. And the flavor text even fits the card really well. How predictable. And I don't know why, but I hear that in that accent, so that's why I said that way. Yes, this is the card that everyone saw coming the second that the Foretell mechanic was revealed. A Foretell counterspell is a really cool thing. So obviously, if you're just going to cast this as it normally is, it's going to be just basically a cancel for 3 mana. But Foretell gives a whole new dimension to a counterspell. You pay 2 and you exile it face down so everyone can see. Now you know what that card is, but your opponents definitely don't. And with more and more Foretell cards being revealed each day, there are more possibilities on what that card could possibly be. And here's the thing. If you're playing blue and you foretell a card, everyone's going to assume that it's this card. Even if it's not, everyone is going to assume it is Saw It Coming. So players are going to misplay. Players are going to play based off of an assumption when there's a Foretell card on the table. Now that assumption might be correct, but it also might not be. Now we'll talk about some more specific Foretell cards later, but again, the more and more Foretell cards that come out, the better this card gets. Or at least I should say, as long as there are other powerful or playable Foretell cards. I don't think it's going to be the case, but if this is literally the only Foretell card that sees play in Commander out of all the Foretell cards that are spoiled, then everyone knows exactly what it is when you foretell it. But again, we've already seen, and again, I'll get to those examples here in a little bit, some Foretell cards that should probably see some play in Commander and can be pretty powerful, so I'm assuming that we're going to see more and more Foretell cards that are playable in the near future. And I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but obviously it's a lot easier to hold up 2 mana for a counterspell instead of 3. So although technically overall you are paying 1 extra mana to actually pay the 2 and then foretell it, it is going to be worth it in the long run. Now when it comes to a comparable card, obviously there's one that immediately comes to mind, and actually if you read the title of this episode, you probably already know what it is. And that would of course be the infamous Willbender. Willbender is a 1/2 human wizard for 1 in a blue that has more for 1 in a blue. And when it's turned face up, you change the target of a spell or ability with a single target. So like other morph creatures, you put it face down for 3 mana, and then at any time you can pay its morph cost to flip it face up. Now the joke with Willbender and morph creatures in general is that every single morph creature is Willbender. Obviously they aren't, but the assumption when someone sees a morph creature is that it is this creature. It may be statistically impossible that every single morph creature is Willbender, but players tend to react to a morph creature assuming that it is Willbender. So again, they make misplays and they play around things even if it actually isn't that. And again, with Saw It Coming, players are going to make that same assumption. Every morph is Willbender, and every Foretell card now is Saw It Coming. So with the introduction of Foretell cards and Saw It Coming, it leads to this mind game in a game of Commander. Again, you know exactly what your face-down cards are, but your opponents don't. And now, thanks to Foretell cards, much like an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you're going to have the opportunity to say, "You've activated my trap card!" But you have to say it in that voice or it doesn't work. So basically now, yeah, with morph creatures, we kind of had this before, but now we really do kind of have trap cards. When we foretell something, it's a face-down card that's incredibly hard to interact with, and when our opponents do a certain thing, there might be a consequence. And now let's talk about some of the other Foretell cards that we've seen spoiled, because again, the more and more playable Foretell cards that there are, the better Saw It Coming gets. And actually, I already did a quick take on one of them with Rise of the Dread Marn, so if you haven't seen that yet, make sure you go check it out. Anyways, Rise of the Dread Marn is an instant for 2 and a black, and its Foretell cost is just a black. It says create X/2/2 black zombie berserker creature tokens, where X is the number of non-token creatures that die this turn. In my opinion, this is an incredibly powerful effect, giving you a ton of zombies, and it's basically just board wipe insurance. Well, actually more so like board wipe insurance and then some, because you're making a token for every single non-token creature that died this turn and not just your own. So a board wipe might set your opponents back really far, but it's going to actually set you ahead. And another powerful Foretell card that we've seen spoiled is Alrund's Epiphany. It's a sorcery for 5 blue, but its Foretell cost is 4 blue, and it says create 2 1/1 blue bird creature tokens with flying, take an extra turn for this one, exile Alrund's Epiphany. And we even already have some, let's call them Foretell support cards like Cosmos Charger. It's a 3/3 horse spirit, that's a thing now, that has flash and flying, and it costs 3 and a blue. Its Foretell cost is 2 and a blue, and it says foretelling cards from your hand cost 1 less and can be done on any player's turn. That is an absolutely huge effect, because again, foretelling a card usually costs 2, and you usually can only do it on your own turn. So this not only cuts the amount of mana in half, but it also gives you a ton of flexibility. And we've even got Renar the Ever-Watchful, which is a commander that works with Foretell as well. A 2/3 Spirit Warrior with Flying and Vigilance that costs 2 white/blue, and it says the first card you foretell each turn costs 0 to foretell. And whenever you exile 1 or more cards from your hand and/or permanents from the battlefield, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with Flying. So each turn you can foretell a card for free, and then you also get a spirit whenever you foretell cards. Again, I'm sure that there are going to be more and more foretell cards coming out in the near future. But now it's time for me to give you my gut feeling on this card. I do think that Saw It Coming can be very powerful and can completely change the way that a player plays. Much like Willbender, if you see a face-down Foretell card, you're gonna assume it Saw It Coming. I do want to stress, however, that this is dependent on other Foretell cards being spoiled that are very useful in Commander. Because the more and more Foretell cards that get spoiled and can be played, the better Saw It Coming gets. And with that, the show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again and have a good one.